how do we break down the stigma to virtual treatment? Proving whether or not it does work or doesn't work, and then really honing in on the details that make it exceptional.
So people are coming in with this concrete block of shame, and it's our job as holistic providers to begin to plane that block a little bit, to make it a little less lighter so they can lift up a little bit taller so they can see the sun a little bit more clearly.
There's no one right way to be in recovery. It's your journey and your path.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another amazing, exciting, and most certainly enthusiastic episode of Finding Peaks. Yours truly, host, founder, chief executive officer here at Peaks Recovery. So grateful today to be joined by a colleague and friend, Grant Schaefer, with one of my favorite treatment programs names right now, Soulful-Recovery.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show, my friend.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Good to see you. I'm actually going to go off of the list right now. I'm going to ask you, how did you develop the name Soulful-Recovery?
Oh, well, so A was what domains are available that you think sound good? Let's be honest. A lot of stuff's taken.
Yeah.
But more importantly, what does it mean to you to be in recovery? For me, when I was in the pits of despair, I lost myself, right? My soul just left my body, my passion, my purpose, completely disrupted and destroyed. And so when we were picking out names, I was like, I wanted to include soul. And so we started searching around on domains, what was available, what wasn't, and Soulful was available, and it felt immediately right. You know when you hear that name and it just rolls off your tongue and you're like, oof, there's a lot of purpose behind that?
Yeah.
That's how Soulful was born.
Yeah, I love that. It has like a very holistic vibe.
Yeah, and that's our program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has recovery in the name too, huh?
Yeah, so it's Soulful-Recovery. Only downside is there's a dash in between, so when you're searching, it's www.soulful-recovery.com, and that's the only part that gets me.
Yeah.
But other than that, the name is perfect.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's always tough in the domain too. You're like, Peaks Recovery Centers, Colorado-.com. It's always nice when it's like a little bit more condensed, refined.
Yeah, I agree. But if it rolls off the tongue, and we've had so many people like you who say that you just say it and it feels like it means something to you, and that's it. That's the special secret of, I think, any good program is from the jump.
Yeah.
What's your first impression? I mean, we spoke the other week and we talked about anchoring bias and your first impression with a program, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
The name.
It's very refreshing. And I haven't really loved, I've been thinking about over the years of like, how do we get recovery out of our name? But because you have Soulful first, it really informs something a little bit differently than I think a lot of recovery centers. Recovery center, Soulful Recovery.
Yeah, I don't like the name center at the end of it. I don't know. Yeah, you feel. Yeah.
Yeah.
No knock, by the way.
Hey,
yeah.
Deservedly taken.
You're stuck with it now.
Yeah, because it's more like this. It's more like this opportunity of like wellness, and we want to be able to allow folks, regardless of where they sit on the mental health or substance use spectrum, to really see themselves in our process, see themselves in our name, be able to call that place home. And I think sometimes with Recovery Center, it kind of informs something a little bit negative and rudimentary.
I would agree. It also sounds very formal and rigid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we're going to do the 12 steps at this Recovery Center. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I'm so grateful to have you on the show. Since I met with you, Grant and the crew up there, they do a virtual IOP, doing a lot of great things in that space. We'll get to that here in a few minutes. But first, like, how did you get into the field? I know you already told the viewers here that you're in recovery, but maybe tell us a little bit about that process.
Yeah, so maybe not obviously, I went through my own journey in recovery. It was long, it was crappy, it was all of the really difficult things that you go through, first as a teen and then in college and then, through my 20s. And the guy who sent me to a program ultimately was my salvation, to some regard at least. I came back into Colorado after about a year and a half after being clean. And he said he was leaving his company to start a consulting business for treatment programs. And I was like, at the time I was a shopper at Whole Foods, just with my earbuds in, just putting groceries in, just trying to make a buck and trying to keep my head afloat and not mess up. And he's like, why don't you come work with me? I'll show you the ropes. And so I did that, and when you're working in treatment, you see the good stuff, the bad stuff, and the, oh, I never want to touch that kind of stuff. It got to that point. So I knew I liked working in treatment. I knew I wanted to work in treatment, after about 6 months with him, but I knew I didn't want to work with him. So that was kind of the impetus for getting into treatment and then figuring out how I wanted to pivot from there. Yeah.
I like that a lot. Yeah, it reminds me of the first place I worked. I was like, yeah, the good, bad, and the ugly.
Oh yeah.
All of it in there. How long did you work for that company, and where were you living at the time?
So I told my parents I wanted to move to Colorado. They're like, great, we'll move with you.
Because we love you that much.
We love you that much.
That.
And parents wanted to do their
For
best,
sure.
and a lot of our family was migrating out here. So they bought a place in Broomfield. I lived with them.
Oh, cool.
And I just started working with him. It was about 3 months in, and then I got my first apartment in Denver, where I met my now wife.
Cool.
And another thing I'm grateful that recovery has brought me.
Yeah.
And I worked with him for about 6 months.
Okay.
Learning kind of the ins and outs, the do's, the don'ts, the where you can have fun and where you should never touch.
Yeah.
And that was very formative.
Yeah. Where are you guys from?
So we're from Jersey. I was born and raised in Jersey.
Okay.
East Coaster.
There you go.
And everyone always talks about how cold the winters are here. I'm like, this doesn't feel that bad.
I was just talking to somebody about that. I was like, you ever been to New York City on Christmas? It's freezing.
Yeah.
It's like 25, but it feels like minus 30.
Oh yeah, it's bad. And God forbid you're from the great up north, and oof. Yeah, try telling someone like from Calgary or something like that.
Right? They're like, you think you're cold?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild, man. It's just it's because of the humidity, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That makes a lot of
wet.
sense.
It's a wet winter versus a dry winter, and it's all the difference.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about what Soulful-Recovery does and why. And I'll be honest, until I've met a couple, not a handful, but a couple, people like yourself and one other outpatient program doing it virtually, I had thought, especially prior to the pandemic, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. I would never do virtual therapy, but the pandemic informed a different way of kind of tackling this thing. And so I know you guys do have a sophisticated approach to what you do, and there's one other program that I really, really love as well. But maybe talk to me a little bit about why virtual IOP? What was it for you? Because it sounded like you had an inpatient experience, right? Did you follow it up with any virtual for yourself?
No,
Okay.
I didn't follow up with any aftercare really. I found a recovery community in Denver, started surrounding myself by people who were also in recovery, all that good aftercare stuff.
Yeah.
But just to clarify the question too, is it why virtual treatment, or did I just fall into that?
Yeah,
what
do you see the benefit of virtual counseling as opposed to in person?
You can tap communities that are resource deserts, most vulnerable populations that might not get it, and you can reach people who might need it most, who for some reason can't get to an in-person program because it's not available. They're working 2 jobs and their only time is available is in the evenings, and driving 15, 30 minutes an hour away isn't an option. They have kids at home, or they can't drive. They have a DUI. There's so many reasons that it's needed. And I think the stigma really lies in, and rightfully founded by the way, is that in the pandemic it didn't work all that well. Now, did it not work because treatment programs were meleeing on their back foot, or did it not work because people were socially isolated already, so the outcome measurement data wasn't good? I think a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah, so our program, was born out of a couple circumstances. The first one was, I was a shopper at Whole Foods. I had just started working in residential treatment at that, right after, and I didn't have that much experience as a manager. So I wasn't a trusted founder. No one knew I could balance a budget sheet. I had no proof of it. So finding money was hard. And when I went to go meet someone who, I met at a networking event, Sam Peterson, Mind Spa.
Oh,
yeah. Sam's a cool guy.
Yeah.
He took me down there, showed me around the office, and I was talking to him about the woes of trying to fund a program. He's like, why don't you just do virtual? And that's when it kind of hit me of like, okay, I'd never A, considered it, and B, does it work?
Right.
So I actually started playing around with that, doing some research, like market research, all the businessy stuff that you do on the back end, and then ask myself the fundamental question: does Colorado need more in-person programming? Does it actually need more virtual programming? And that's when things clicked. Sam had it right. I should start really investing in virtual programming, figuring out what people did well, what they didn't do well. How do we bring this to fruition? And so, thanks, Sam. Appreciate you.
He's been on the podcast before.
Yeah?
Yeah, for sure. Him and Ron, Dr. Ron Schwinkler.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good people.
Yeah.
And I appreciate them for kind of giving me the kick in the direction that ultimately became Soulful-Recovery. So we launched it with the idea of how do we break down the stigma to virtual treatment, proving whether or not it does work or doesn't work, and then really honing in on the details that make it exceptional. What does that look like?
Yeah.
And so we found our secret sauce. We figured out what needs to happen to make it, not just like from a business standpoint, like fiscally feasible, but to have good outcome measurements that actually support people. And so that's what we built out.
I love that.
Yeah.
I started my virtual journey on the front end of the pandemic as well, started doing
Okay.
somatic experiencing therapy. So I became a believer pretty quick.
When you say somatic experiencing, what are we talking about here?
Like somatic work, like SEP, like a somatic experiencing practitioner.
Oh,
it's the modality. It's developed by Peter Levine, who's a fellow at the Meadows Behavioral Health. We love the Meadows around here.
Yeah.
But Peter Levine developed this somatic experiencing. And the idea is, or the fact, if I will, that the body keeps the score, very Bessel van der Kolk. And the trauma lives on the vagus nerve in the body, and it gets stuck, and it informs the way we show up, how we connect, how we disconnect, how we walk around and ambulate in this world. And so with somatic work, we go into the nervous system, we go into the body, and we get out of the head that's trying to keep me safe or kill me, depending on the day. And we go internal, and we move that energy on the vagus nerve, which I'm no doctor or scientist, but it starts back here and it goes down to the ankles in the vagus nerve. If you've ever felt your vagus nerve light up, you'll know exactly where it is.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's about just moving that trauma out of the body so it's not informing in a maladaptive or brilliant strategy way my every decision. And so I love somatic work.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's kind of closely aligned with EMDR in a way. But yeah, so I started my virtual journey, and I remember my first session, I'm like, this is dog shit. Thinking as we were about to get on, and then all of a sudden I'm having this experience that maybe I wouldn't have otherwise had in front of her. And I was like, you know what? She's like, so can we continue the virtual? I'm like, yeah, this is actually working really well. And what we're starting to see, essentially from like 2019 or early 2020 on, is that people are spending less time in treatment. There's a lot of resources online. People don't need to spend 90 days in a program. They can get these virtual components, and the components are far more sophisticated now. And so we're starting to see it as people, that's what people are wanting.
Yeah.
They don't want a 90-day IOP where you got to come 3 to 5 days a week, 3 hours a day. People have lives. These are mature adults, young adults, they're moving and grooving, and we don't want to hold them back from that.
Exactly.
So I really love what you guys are doing. How would you say, because I have a couple favorite providers, you're one of them, for sure. But what differentiates Soulful-Recovery from your run-of-the-mill online intensive outpatient program?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. A, we do IOP, level of care. So again, that more group therapy focused modality, which is key to building culture, support systems, lived experience through others, bring in alumni to come speak to our groups so they get to know, hey, we've been gone 2 years and it still works. And this is how I did it, and this is what keeps me going. So that works too. And then the other thing is a lot of programs who are in person usually start IOPs or VIOPs as well. We've seen a massive uptick. And there are plenty of people who do it well, and there are plenty of people who don't do it well.
I bet.
Yeah, and I'd say when you're choosing a program, when I'm choosing a program, do I want to go to a place that does all levels of care, detox, res, in-person IOP, VIOP, and then outpatient stuff, or do I want to go to someone who specializes it?
Right.
And I'd ask the same person, you know, if you have a tumor in your brain, do you want to go to a general surgeon or do you want to go to a neurosurgeon?
Exactly.
We're the
Specialist.
neurosurgeon.
Yeah.
And so we specialize in it. It's all we do. It's our bread and butter, baby. We figured out how to do it. We figured out how to do it well, and we've continued to add different resources. We just launched our app like a year ago, and our reward system that we built in there has amplified our attendance rates, client satisfaction outcomes, all these key metrics that we're looking for to say what we do actually helps people.
Yeah.
And it's a difference that they haven't experienced in another program.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. That's brilliant. I didn't know you had an application. That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
How do you account for attendance? Because that was one of the things where I'm like, yeah, people aren't going to get to group. That's why we provide rides and this, that, and the other thing.
And I would agree. If you compare the analytics of attendance rates to an in-person program versus a virtual one, I'd say that virtual does dip.
Okay.
Not trying to misinform there.
Sure.
The degree to which it does dip is dependent upon the program's infrastructure. How do they track down clients who aren't showing? How do they admit clients who are the right clients who will show? And that's the secret sauce.
Yeah.
That's what makes us different, is because we can tell in our admissions process if that person's probably going to be successful in virtual environments, let alone our program. Yeah.
That's really, really cool. Is group size still the same thing on the virtual side of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Forget the state limits. We cap our clients usually at around 10.
Beautiful.
Whereas, in-person programs, you can go up to 12. You get another therapist in there.
Right.
Yeah. You can fudge the attendance.
I love that you guys are doing that. Our core value, our mission is to save lives. Our top core value is to disrupt the industry through quality of care. I was just sitting with the BHA
God,
last
I love
week,
you.
right? Yeah, I was sitting with the BHA last week. I've been doing this a while,
Yeah.
and we've been in Colorado 11 years. And I'm sitting there with our new surveyor, and she's like, how many people do you have in group? I'm like, well, here in the residential program, we never go over 12. And in the PHP program, we're right around 12. And I know the rule is 15, but we generally standard 12. And she said, good, because we're really cracking down on that. And I was like, are you really? Because I would love if you did.
There's a bunch of programs that I don't think I'd hear.
Yeah. Have you gone up the street, you know? And so it's quality of care, man.
It's people before profits, too.
Yeah.
And you can tell when a program does that.
Yeah, and then obviously it informs outcomes. It's like taking a step back today so I can step further tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
It's a really beautiful thing, and I knew I was, we had some relation, both personally and professionally, but then I hear stuff like that, and I'm like, that's why Grant's sitting here today.
So we've been vibing from day one.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Ever since that dinner. We were at a dinner, my favorite thing, because I'm a big foodie.
Yeah.
So we're at a dinner, and our table is like half full, so there's like, let's call it 10 chairs. And there was only 5 or 6 of us,
Yep.
but we got the same appetizers and the same entrees and all the same shit to our table. So I'm just like, whoa.
And it was all good.
So good.
God.
What was that place called?
The Kitchen.
The Kitchen.
Yeah.
If you haven't been, you ought to go.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. And I got to meet your incredible wife as well.
Yeah.
And a relationship is good when you literally can't stop talking to that person.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter the topic. It can range like, hey, I was immediately attracted to you because you went into such high level insights, things that only other founders and CEOs understand, not just from the numbers, but from the vision that you're trying to put out into this world.
Yeah.
And there's only a couple people who can fully understand that. When I was a tech, I didn't think about that because all I was thinking about is, making sure that a client didn't relapse, or did I collect that UA, or is this medication really PRN?
Right.
Focus stuff that, tech's siloed in, focus on. But when you're a CEO, you get to have those intimate conversations with people who are very knowledgeable like yourself. And I love that.
Yeah, it was really nice. I really enjoyed that dinner because I'm always down to have a good conversation.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk about how many IOPs do you do? How many outpatients do you do? How many, it's like, no, do you want to have an authentic conversation about helping people? And if we can connect on that, then we can talk about this other stuff. So I really, really love that. And from the moment that we had the opportunity to sit down, Cass like, you got to meet this guy's Grant. I'm like, he's right next to you, babe. He's like, oh yeah. So it was really cool. And I would have gone to that dinner over and over just to have that connection.
Oh, 1,000 times over. I went home to my wife and I said the same thing. I was like, I was on the fence about whether or not to go, and I think it was the best thing that's happened to me in the last 3 months. Nothing like good quality connection.
Yeah.
The things that you miss when you're in active addiction.
Yep. or when you're trying to sell something. Right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's tough because everybody, I mean, at the end of the day, it's business. People are trying to sell something. But I think there's a much more connected way to get there. You know?
I agree.
So like if we can align personally and professionally, then that'll just happen.
It happens organically.
Exactly.
When you least expect it, when you don't try to manipulate it, when you don't try to push your agenda onto it, when you let go and you let God,
Yep.
things fall into place, man.
Yeah. Were you a 12-stepper guy?
Nah.
Never?
I've worked them. I think everyone should work them regardless of if you're in recovery because you'll understand yourself a lot better than if you hadn't.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it was all about connecting through things that I'm passionate about.
I love that.
It's music, working out, playing games, throwing darts.
I love that. I'm actually glad I asked you that question because I didn't think I was going to get that response, but it's an important response, I think, for the viewers, especially young adults. You know, we both get sober at a young age, and it's like, okay, now I have a life sentence to mediocrity and shame. I thought it'd be great. But then you realize, like, I was thrusted into the 12-step way of life because at the time they didn't understand communities.
And that's what worked, though, too.
Yeah.
I mean, at that time, all the data said
Yep.
12 steps keeps people clean.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to force that and push that message. But there are plenty of people out here who don't agree with that. They actually need a more holistic-based approach like I have.
But I love that your approach because you get to do something you're passionate about.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like if I can do something I'm passionate about, it means I'll do it for free and I'll do it sustainably one day at a time. And so I love 12 steps. I was in it for 7 years.
We're not knocking it.
We're not knocking it for sure.
Yeah.
But I just want to introduce to people who are maybe weary of picking up the admissions phone to get on another call with an admissions guy who does a substance use program who's going to put a box over your head and say, you're an alcoholic for the rest of your life, do these 12 steps or die. That is an approach, but there's a multitude of other approaches that are producing and procuring amazing outcomes.
And that's what we preach at Soulful.
Yeah.
There's no one right way to be in recovery. It's your journey and your path. And ultimately, you're going to live with the consequences of what you choose to do.
Yep.
So here's all the tools. Here's the different types of things that work. And you know what? If you discover a new thing that works for you, man, hell yeah, share it with me.
Yeah, let us know. For sure.
And if you know what? If going to meetings, getting a sponsor, working those steps is what keeps you clean, keep doing it.
Yep.
Keep showing up, doing 90 and 90. You know, memorize a big book back and forth. That's great. It's not what worked for me, and it's not what works for everyone. And that's okay too. The biggest thing though is how do we prevent stigmatizing and alienating those who don't agree with AA and who don't naturally gravitate to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the holistic based approach comes in, and that's where our philosophical approach to treatment comes in.
I love that, man. Alleviate the shame instead of compound.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And to understand too, it's like substance users, even folks with mental health, non-substance related issues, mental health, the shame, we got to be able to address that like there's nothing you could say to the individual that they haven't already told themselves times 100. And so people are coming in with this concrete block of shame, and it's our job as holistic providers to begin to plane that block a little bit, to make it a little less lighter so they can lift up a little bit taller so they can see the sun a little bit more clearly.
Yeah.
You know, so I love that you guys do that. So I like to ask this question too, and it's not, the core value of disrupt the industry through quality of care used to be like, I'm just going to be disruptful to be disruptful. Remember when my brother and I developed it, it was like, because we're peaks and you're you. And it's not like that at all. It's to disrupt the industry through one conversation at a time. It's one individual at a time, one guest in our program at a time, seeing value and hearing them disrupts this thing that I call behavioral health. And so one of my questions to you is like, if you could change anything about the industry, what would it be and why?
One of the biggest things holding Colorado back, specifically our behavioral and mental health services, is legislation. Are you familiar with TABOR? So 1992, they passed this TABOR law that essentially restricts the amount of, God, I'm going to butcher this too, so I don't want to speak out of turn. I'm not a legislator, you know, I know a little bit about this topic.
He's summarizing.
So it limits the amount of taxes we can allocate toward Medicaid and other services in Colorado, caps the spending budget.
Okay.
And it's tied to inflation and population size. But the thing that happened since 1992 is Colorado's boomed in the last 33 years. So what we've seen is the needs of the community in Colorado outpacing the fiscal resources we've allocated to it 33 years ago. So what's happened is you have a bunch of people who need Medicaid. You got 1.2 million in Colorado who are Medicaid dependent, and when legislation hasn't caught up or it's really hard to revise, our legislators are taxed with two things. They can either cut back Medicaid services, which is what we're seeing, or they can limit where they spend their resources, like schools. And we're seeing a little bit of both. Yeah. So you're seeing, if you're a Medicaid provider right now, like we are, they're cutting back rates, big one. And now $25 a therapy session doesn't seem like a lot, but it adds up. Same with every other service that you can bill for. They're cutting out some codes altogether, so you can't bill for certain ones. And then they're limiting the amount of times you can render that service. So what it's doing is what is needed is now no longer a profitable business model, i.e. sober living. And I think you might agree with me on that. Yeah, I knew you would. So sober living is, and we've seen the boom happen in Colorado with sober living. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
And the reason that boom happened is because the business models for that changed. They were more profitable because they were able to charge for ancillary services like peer coaching.
Right.
But what we've seen since July 1st, and what we're going to see in January 2026, is all that crunched back in because we're in a $1 billion deficit.
Right.
So we're stuck in what will be a cycle of reduction in services, namely Medicaid population services, and you're going to see programs like sober livings really struggle. If they don't adapt, they're going to die.
Yeah.
And so what I would say to answer your original question is more sober living programs and then higher Medicaid rates to be able to afford to expand those sober living programs and provide more ancillary services. But we're going to be stuck in this cycle of regurgitate and repeat and failure unless you adapt your lines of business. So.
Dude, that makes a lot of sense. And I didn't know but I'd like to change that as well. You know, what's interesting is not just Medicare, but all of our top five big payers in the United States, Blue Cross, Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare, you name it, they're oftentimes producing and informing their rates through Medicare fee schedules.
Yeah. And so for those who don't know, CMS is the Center for Medicaid Services, and they have, programs like what you're saying, like BCBS will say, I'll pay you 110% of what the Medicaid service is. So if you get paid $100 for therapy, we'll pay you $110 for that, which is what Chris is talking about.
Yeah. It's interesting too, because and I wonder if that's going to be impacted on the private insurance side, because last I checked, most of those companies, if not all of them, are federally funded.
Yep.
And additionally privately held.
Yep.
Or publicly held, excuse me.
Yes.
Right, yeah. So it's very interesting. So I wonder if there's going to be, and we're seeing it on our side of things, but I didn't know that it was this Medicaid thing informing it. But now that you're talking about it, it seems to be.
Well, for what it's worth, I'm talking about Colorado Medicaid.
Okay.
Specifically. But yes, federally speaking too, Medicaid's going to, with the big, beautiful bill, I imagine things will be also taking a hit federally.
It's a big wonder to me why we have private insurance anyway.
Yeah, well, people have been trying to solve for it forever.
Yeah.
Some countries have figured it out. Ours hasn't.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
What is your favorite thing about Soulful-Recovery? Like your day-to-day job, your passion, your purpose. Obviously, you're a business guy. You love numbers.
Actually, well, I do like numbers. I love people. So when we first launched, I had this golden rule for myself. I will always take on at least one client for peer coaching. Full stop.
That's cool.
Now I have a caseload of 3, but and it expands based on needs and if we have capacity or, where my capacity is at personally.
Yeah.
But connecting with the people who we serve. Boom, that's it. And if I'm not there on the grounds, understanding their impact and feeling it and being part of it and being able to provide direct care, then I lose a little bit about why we're doing it and I get stuck behind a spreadsheet. And that's not how I want to show up as, an owner, let alone a person in recovery or someone who's trying to make change. I mean, my core being is helping people.
Yeah.
Always has been. That's always been fundamental to who I am. And so I've always wanted to retain that. But to answer your question, what I love doing at Soulful is everything. I love that my mind gets to bounce around from like in a computer you have 20 tabs open. I love bouncing around from those 20 tabs every day. It's perfect for my ADHD brain, and now I know why my parents always told me that some of the best CEOs have ADHD.
Yeah. Yeah, because when
No
you can
shot.
find a passion, you can focus on it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a fun game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you can still see everything with the greater vision in mind. So you can bounce around from those 20 tabs knowing that you have an entire window over here labeled vision.
Yeah.
And you get to build those 20 tabs as they should fit within that global vision.
Yeah.
And it's the coolest thing ever.
It really is. Putting the pieces together is a
I know
really
you love
fun
that. Yeah, we've
process.
talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of my questions was what keeps you so passionate on tough days, but I think you just defined it. And I actually really relate to that.
Yeah. Well, I'd say the other thing too is, something else you probably relate to is when you've gone through it yourself.
Yeah.
You remember what it's like to be in that pit of despair. I mean, I keep a note in my wallet, and when I ever think, oh, you know what, a little bowl of weed sounds like a good idea, I read that note. And I'm happy to read it to you too.
Or whatever. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I read that note every now and then. It's called The Truth. And it's
Don't forget the truth.
Yeah.
Because your truth.
It's my truth.
Yeah.
And every time, without failure, I get shivers down my spine, and I remember what it's like to be that kid who's uncomfortable in his own skin, that business owner who's uncomfortable in his own skin, and that person who needs help navigating. And I can look back at that note and remember what it was like to be in that place and how I never want to be there again. And I get the opportunity, even if it's with one client or with my staff when we have our staff meetings, to project how are we helping this person today? What is their need? What is their experience within our program? How do we make meaningful change for one life?
Yeah.
And that's it, man.
Yeah, I love that. That's profound. And
Yeah.
I really love owner-operators with recovery stories and a willingness to gain business acumen.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool that, you see so many, not so many, but, a handful of places, like, people don't know their CEOs and don't know their owners. And people come to Peaks and they're like, what do you do here? I'm like, I kind of front as a recovery cheerleader. And then eventually I'm like, I'm a founder here. They're like, wow, that's so cool.
I never tell people I'm the founder.
Yeah, I don't like doing it.
I'm always like, I'm just a dude in recovery. How can I help you?
Yeah, I'm the pom-pom guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're at meetings or like Gabby and I go to networking events and I'm like, I work at this place called Soulful-Recovery. I never let anyone know I'm like the CEO unless Gabby's like, you should tell him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't need to.
That's cool.
Because at the end of the day, I want to hear people's perspectives without me having to interject. The moment you say it's your company,
Conversation changes.
conversation changes,
Yep.
perspectives change. And you can't have those, or you can, but it's sometimes difficult. They're clouded in biases and heuristics.
Yep, I agree. It's so interesting you say that. My business partner, one of them, Bobby, he does all the hikes. So 4 days a week, they're going out to Drum
Yeah.
Circle, Garden of the Gods, and nobody knows he's an owner.
Yeah.
He's just like shooting the shit, just having a good time. He's like, dude, I don't want anyone to know. He's like, they share openly, and we talk about it. I'm like, yeah, fuck Peaks. No, excuse me. But just like getting people to speak openly and not feel like.
And you know what, that speaks tremendous lengths, not just for Bobby, but for your program. The fact that I think it personally like an ego thing. But if you let your ego die and you're able to just say, I'm just this person showing up today how I am, hopefully in a good way,
Yeah.
like Bobby
Yep.
on those hikes, like you when you're talking with new clients coming in, that's the difference between people who are comfortable in their own skin and who show up to be their best selves. Personal belief.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I do this, I spoke last night at our alumni group. So
Nice.
inpatient clients, inpatient guests, and a handful of alumni. And I played this song before I walk out.
Which one?
Diamond by Rihanna.
All right.
Shine bright
Not
like a diamond.
Not what I thought you were going to go with.
okay.
Completely.
So I'm going to give a shout out to Kathleen Murphy. She's one of
thought
my
you were gonna say
favorite
Rihanna.
clinicians. She's in Southern California. I saw her at TJ Woodward's conference last year. What is the name of the freaking conference? I'll think about it.
Not the symposium.
Emergence.
Oh, okay.
Emergence 2024. I'm at Emergence 2024. Best conference I've ever been to.
Really?
Very small, very intimate.
Okay.
I never had a conversation that was under 15 minutes.
Okay.
I mean, just each, and there's only about 400 people. Very intimate, hand selected. So they're doing, they did a panel, and I was on the panel. Not because I was doing anything, it was because I sponsored it.
Yeah.
So I was on the panel, but before me, this lady named Kathleen Murphy got up. And she has the most beautiful energy, the most beautiful soul, and you can just tell when she talks, like, just a seasoned clinician.
Oh, yeah.
And she goes, before I speak, I like to play a little song, you know, to
Shine
get
bright like a diamond.
and she starts doing it. She's dancing around. She has the whole room, man. The whole room's doing the thing. I'm like, this is amazing.
Oh,
So I spoke
yeah.
last year. I was speaking at our executive clinical director, Dr. Prince, is also the executive director at a nonprofit here in town called ECOC,
Okay.
Educating Children of Color. It's a really cool nonprofit. We've had Magistrate Regina on the show. She's the founder, and they do this really cool thing. So she plugs me in to go talk to the kids sometimes. And I'll go talk to the kids, and I started playing that song. Shout out to Kathleen Murphy. So last night, I was like, hey, everybody, I'd like a little song to get me going here. And I play it, and I'm dancing around. And I tell the story of when I saw Kathleen Murphy, I thought to myself, boy, does she seem really comfortable in her own skin.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I play that song, it's an exercise to get into my body, to be present, to be comfortable in my own skin. And so if you can shine bright like a diamond and dance around, and frankly, I never knew I could shine bright like a diamond.
I thought I loved you peak level before, pun intended. That just brought it to new
Let's
heights,
go.
man.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, people are blown away. I'm like, maybe you guys know this song. They're like, oh, no way, he's doing it.
It's a little indie song.
Yeah, I'm
not
just like, shine bright like a diamond. Well, it's been phenomenal having on your show. I want to end with this one thing, and you've answered it in a myriad of ways, but I just kind of want to hone in on it specifically. Is what's your why?
Ooh, what's our why? Well, I have answered that in some other ways, but I'll leave you with this.
Mm-hmm.
My business partner and our wives, we went, you know, the recovery walk, the Advocates for Recovery.
Yeah.
So we hosted the photo booth this year, and we didn't know what we were fully getting into, but we saw everyone come in. You know, they did their recovery walk, and they had their families there. They had signs, you know, pride flags, all the things that you want to see when you're like, you're living your best life, your best sober life.
Mm-hmm.
And we had clients come up to us after. Former clients, alumni who are still in recovery, some who I knew, some who, you know, we haven't had contact with, but they're still clean. We had current clients come up. And hearing someone say, you changed the course of my life, is the most powerful motivator in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I used to be a firefighter in EMT,
I saw that.
and I was really into emergency care, and like I thought to be the best person I could. That's how I was going to help people, right? Is in those moments when they're going through their most traumatic things. And I didn't realize that it's actually, or in addition to, people who are in early recovery or still in the pits of despair and need someone to just reach down with a hand and help pull them out. Mm-hmm. And that was it for me. Just being able to speak with our alumni, getting to see clients and seeing them in person and their smile on their face was just, it made everything, all the sleepless nights, all the worrying about money, all the mortgages, the things that you're like, man, is this gonna work? Is what I'm doing helping people? Like it makes everything worth it.
Yeah.
And I would do it 1,000 times over.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
I love that. One of my favorite podcasters, I've said it on the show a million times. Coop's probably like, dude, shut up already. But Rich Roll, he's in long-term recovery. He swam at the University of Stanford, just about lost everything, and now he's like 20 years sober. But he has this quote, and the people I bring on the show, but more specifically right now, what you just said reminds me of this, and I think that's why we're here today, and we'll be here tomorrow, is when the heart is true, the universe will conspire to support you. And
Oof, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Every time, goosebumps.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
I'm like, woo. And when I say that, people are like, whoa, I'm like, it's not my quote.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, and I feel that in our interactions, and I feel that in our opportunity to help walk with people one day at a time on this journey. So
It's the coolest job in the world.
it's rad.
It's the coolest job. It beats firefighting by any means.
Don't you love when people are like, you know, you tell them what you do for a living, they're like, oh, I'm like, poor thing. What are you talking about? Like,
Every time. It's always a sympathy.
Oh.
It must be so hard for you. I'm like, sometimes, but it's actually pretty freaking
This is
awesome.
amazing. Like
It's
the people, the places, the stories, the connection. I mean,
Everything, it hits all the right notes.
Yep.
It's like a beautiful symphony that you're currently writing, and at the end of our lives, I'm hoping to hear it
Yep.
and just feel proud.
Yep. I love that, man. Well, thank you so much
Yeah.
for coming on the show. It's been
Thanks
an
for having me.
absolute privilege and an honor to connect with you again. I look forward to many more of these. We'll have to bring you on quarterly, talk about what Soulful's doing to change the industry one day at a time, and more specifically, lives one day at a time. So thank you so much for coming on, Grant.
Come on. I love you, man.
Let's go, buddy. I love you too, man.
Thanks again for having me.
You got it, absolutely.
Yeah.
For anybody, this is the holiday season. You know, if you're finding yourself disconnected, isolated, all alone, reach out. There's a tremendous amount of resources. Shit, our admissions team will just talk to you.
Yes.
Listen first, solve later. Just have a conversation. Just know that there's some crazy guys here in Colorado that are thinking about you and care deeply about your success. So until next time, peace.